There we go. We are live on YouTube, and good morning to one and all, and good morning to you, Jeff.
Holy dooly, we're live. G'day, mates. Yeah, morning. It is in your place. It's gone evening in my place, of course. It's a bit chilly, I've got to say.
Oh yeah, do you know, mate? Usually, well, not usually actually, we're on the opposite side of the world. If it's chilly there, it's potentially warm here. We do have summertime, but it's it's chilly here as well. I got to be honest.
Yeah, you've had your 2 days of summer, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's raining again now. Just going to share
Unbelievable.
screen. So I'm sharing screen, mate. We'll get to this and come to the pound, because actually it looks like the pound could give us some movements right now. FTSE 100 is currently just moving a little bit to the upside. We've just seen a bit of a resurgence in the S&P as well. It came down to the 3,000 level, but it's rejected that level. This bar here is a belt hold, and that is that does have bullish implications. So I'd say there's a suggestion that we could at least try and push to the top end of this this particular range, but we know that the bigger picture is for some weakness. So I'm really looking for the FTSE probably to open up a little bit. Well, we it looks okay here, but it's got to get through this particular 4-hour level. I am looking for it to push down straight away this morning. I managed to get a trade on Friday, and I'm pretty pleased with the price. So I'm just kind of I'm going to hold on to it and see what happens at this particular level here. There we go. And it looks like we're just under that trend line. So I've moved my stops down already, so it's already in profit, and I'm just going to see how far down it can come. Definitely want to aim for this this monthly pivot down here. And when we look at this on the daily, I couldn't resist it anymore, mate. It was, I turned away 2 trades, and this one was shaping up as well. And I thought we are getting close to July, so maybe we should take a bit of downside. Look at the problems here, though. This is the daily charts, and this is where we did start the day gapping down, and we've now closed the gap, so it's really got a green light to go. But it is
That's
under
one of
this
my
trend line.
favourite patterns there, mate.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. All those
positively
tails.
or negatively?
Well, positively for you, I see downside there.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah. Yeah, well, I do too, and my hope is that I've got a good price. But I would have thought if it's going to come and take me out, it's probably going to be a buying opportunity rather than selling opportunity anyway. So I think I would be wrong if it's going to take this stop out. So I'm quite comfortable really right now. But how far it comes down is the question, and really we got to kind of draw some other little lines here to kind of see if we can ascertain how far down it can come. I think there's a possibility it comes down here. Now, if I just bring this back to a chart with pivots, then we can see that it wouldn't quite touch that monthly pivot there. There we go. We just opened up. Now we just opened up, just trying to ease it back to the upside. I wonder whether this this pivot area could be the area that just spoils some of that upside potential, and then we start to reject. That's what I'd quite like to see here. Going across the board, the S&P looks all right. We got Trump out later, so maybe we do continue to push higher. It's possible. VIX is just coming off a little bit as well, so we might even end up having an up day, mate. We know about the 4th of July celebrations, but what I'd really love is if it could come down for a couple of days, then buy up into the 4th of July celebration, and then ultimately fail. Looking at this on some of these longer term timeframes, that the monthly is the most interesting, as I was saying yesterday. Could get a really negative bar here, so I'm willing to give the profit up for the chance of getting a really good move. But let's get to the pound, mate. We'll come back to the FTSE later on and see see if there's anything that we can get everybody else into as well.
We have officially actually closed our trial on the pound.
Oh, brilliant!
For this quarter, if you like, and we'll start anew here. And I'm not going to change any strategy at this point, but we're still in beta mode. Of course, this is not an official strategy as yet. I just ran out of breath then. So, wow. Oh, I'm on a 15-minute chart. Gee, that's moved quick, but it hasn't. There's our entry level for the buy at 1.2405, and the stop loss
Don't know
is
if we
one
got your
point.
screen yet, mate.
Oh, wonder what's going on.
Yeah, the market still looks heavy here, actually.
Oh,
Still
and that's
looks pretty
because
heavy.
you've got to give me powers. Mate.
Oh, okay. That was the mistake that you made earlier, was it? Giving me all the power. Here we
Probably.
go then. If I stop sharing, how's that?
I don't know. No, no good.
No good. All right, no problem. Let me see if I can do this. There you go.
Happy days. That looks better. Alrighty, so thank you to Kumar once again for the. I haven't actually Kumar's upgraded that to the next level, and I'm going to test that over the next 24-hour period, but I haven't loaded it yet. But he gives me a very, very easy task every day, and that easy task is that and we've moved past the candle, but I can take that back if I so choose and take it anywhere I like, based on these numbers here. But the number today for the buy is, as I was saying, at 1.2405, and the stop loss on that is at 1.2351. And the reverse is the case for the sell, entering at 1.2351, and the stop loss for that is at 1.2405. Now, I'll just stick with the current scenario that we've got, trading those, or the range of those last three bars, until we start to get into the analysis, and we'll do that as of next week. What I might do, just for fun, because we're not really trading this with serious money, guys, and I hope you're doing the same. This is a beta test, right? What I might do is trail on an hourly bar rather than a 15-minute bar. So still trail 2 bars, but this time on an hourly bar, and we'll see what that does to the results. That'll be one of the things I'll be looking at when we start our analysis next week, next Monday, in the US session. Of course, we'll post those results here in the UK session as well. So if I'm a pound trader today, mate, if we've got to go back to you, just let me know. I'm thinking short.
It would. You're thinking short? Inverted head and shoulders there, though, isn't there, mate? I mean, it's interesting. We're just on that chart there. Yeah, yeah. We're on the right shoulder of the inverted head and shoulders. The Brexit negotiations are, I think, on today or certainly this week, and yes, they're trying to kind of like thrash out the deal before the end of July. So there is some potential for some pound upside, because of that, really, or downside, But I do see that we're in a buy zone down there. Is that the monthly pivot that we're sitting on?
That currently is the monthly pivot. It's also the daily pivot, and the weekly pivot's not far from it either.
Yeah, quite
and that's
like
always that always tells me that we're not going to go too far today, no matter what happens.
So there's some back and forth probably in the price action as those negotiations, possibly news filters through. They've made some pretty happy noises actually recently on the Brexit negotiations. They have, they have, and it's just that. The operative word probably is noise, because it is just noise. It's there's nothing cement that we can really trade or grab onto. We're just waiting for rhetoric at the minute. I doubt there's going to be a deal signed anyway, but Boris Johnson, I don't know whether he sacked him, but but the head civil servant in the UK has agreed to step down in September, and there's a lot of talk that the next one that's going to be in is going to be another Brexiteer. So he's continuing to shape his government and the people around him and his advisors within that mold of Brexit. So it's not going away. The question is, are they really out there to get a good deal, or are they looking to crash out? But it wouldn't make a lot of sense, you know. I think they are probably trying to get a good deal. Boris Johnson's really announced, he's over the weekend announced a huge spending plan, which would probably boost the pound as well. You know, there are some positive signs really coming from the government that could help the pound. You know, trying to get the UK economy back on track again.
You're not helping me here, mate. You're not helping me at all.
Well, I mean, you know,
I mean, you are.
Yeah. Again, mate, it's all rhetoric, isn't it? And it just depends on, you know, how we base our trades. But when it comes down to some shorter term opportunities, I'm not sure whether it would affect it or not. So it's a difficult one.
Yeah, look, the one thing that I am gleaning from what you're saying is that I think it's reasonably safe, therefore, to place an order short underneath this bar here, because whilst we're above these levels, the monthly pivot, daily pivot, if that is to be positive, or the market is to react positively to what you just said, then we should go without coming back in this direction at all. That should go just straight up here. So I will place a short underneath here. I think that's a reasonable thing to do. But I might place it on another cross. I just haven't made up my mind yet. There's a few options to take. And if we have a look at all these, they're all the same setup. Pound yen is one. You can see how close the pivots are together. The one difference here is that this will be the second double cross of the monthly pivot. With the pound, it's actually the first double cross of the monthly pivot. As you can see, it hasn't happened before. So that's interesting. The pound yen has already double crossed, and pound Aussie, that's the hourly chart I'm looking at. So let's change that. Pound Aussie is nowhere near the monthly pivot, and it's kind of the one I would least like to trade. And the reason for that is that we're right at the bottom of the sell-off of the trend. So no, that's a no for me. Pound CAD we're already in, and absolutely no reason to change that. Pound Swissy, nice little bounce off the daily pivot, but not as strong as the pound again, and pound Kiwi is way down at the bottom as well. So I think it has to be pound US dollar, actually, the one I'm going to have to trade as a double cross.
Yeah. I actually quite like the look of the Aussie today. I thought it looked, especially against the Kiwi, I thought it looked fairly bullish. I haven't checked it since I looked earlier on, but
that reminds me, I've still got to cancel my short Aussie Kiwi from a week ago, which I will do.
It looks okay, doesn't it? It looks
well, if you're seeing something, mate, let's have a look at it.
Well, only let's have a look around anyway and see what we got. Gold is holding pat right now. But let's talk about the FTSE a little bit as well. So
I place this trade, actually. I'll place this trade.
Okay, yeah, you go for that. Yeah, go for that first, and then
I'll give. Well, it's on your screen now. I'll give you the levels when we come back. It's not going to trigger anytime soon, that's for sure.
No problem. Okay, so FTSE's looking a lot more positive actually right now, but it does have these pivots to get through. So I would have suspected it would struggle here, but it does just about take us through the pattern here. But the weekly pivot is the obvious place. Now, really, we should be looking at the short still. You know, we got to consider the short rather than the long here. So what I'd like to see is a genuine breakdown of this bar that we currently got. Before looking at the shorts. You know, this is a short area. Now, it's possible that as the day develops, that this area does become a bit more palatable to enter on. You know, maybe we could take a trade in this area, but not right now. You know, it's very, very early. We have got Trump out, but maybe, you know, let this bar form currently. You know, this bar currently is not a problem. But if it kind of comes through and gives us something after that, then we can trade a bar to the downside. You know, there's a lot of resistance in this area. So if it was to take it out, then it does change things quite significantly. And it could. You know, we know about the 4th of July rally. And maybe the 4th of July rally is what's going to allow the market to continue to the upside. So maybe we end up getting that. Now, if I end up losing the trade, I end up losing the trade. But I'll I will no doubt be entering long if we do get into, if we do get above that area. I'll try and get in on the long as well, as long as I don't get a situation where I get a bar which just comes all the way up there and takes me out. Then I should be okay. I'll try and attempt to take it on the retracement, and then we'll see what we have. But yeah, pretty solid start. Certainly a solid opening as the market traders try and get some value down here, as the market did. It did come down fairly swiftly on the 4-hour, but I'd really like to see whether I get a nice longer term trade here. So I'm willing to take a punt on it. I'm not going to get too obsessed with a few pips here and there, because even though that would have been a really nice profit to the bottom, it's nowhere near as nice as the profit could be. So I'm going to trade on the what could be. And trust myself that I'll get another entry and make the money back in a different way if this does end up losing. So no big deal right now. The Aussie Kiwi. Yeah, I quite like this one for some upside. I was looking at this earlier on.
I'm a bear, so convince me.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I was just looking on the daily and just checking out. I'm not a massive bull here, but just looking at this this price action here that's currently going on. It might even be there that we have a point of interest, and it's got to break through this line down here. So if we bring this to an hourly chart here, then it would suggest that it's through. That's what I'm looking at. This is on a 4-hourly actually. It looks to me like it's through. Now I don't know about these pivots, so let's just check the pivots. Yeah, it's right on top of them, isn't it? I mean, the monthlies are obviously going to be problematic, but actually, if you look at it on these particular time frames, do we have a shorter term trend going on? And I'd say we probably do, just about. It's holding up pretty well at those daily and weekly pivot area. I think if there's going to be profit, then there's going to be profits probably up at the monthly pivot, and then it would just be a case of can it get through that point? So I quite like the Aussie Kiwi. I'm not necessarily calling for an entry just yet, and I suppose that would be the only issue, that you'd probably want it above these levels here. Now, will that give enough room? It's only a 1-to-1, which is a bit shallow, isn't it? Yeah, there is only a 1-to-1 there, and you probably want it above there, unless there's something else which kind of forms within this this area here. I'm not sure whether there would be an entry, but it looks like we got this descending triangle or whatever, where everybody likes to label that. It does look. It does appear that there's a possibility that that this could at least stay within this range, and it would obviously be a lot better if it stayed within the range and add just a bit of a squeeze. If it kind of kept coming up and kept coming down and did that a few more times, kind of coming down. If there's enough of a squeeze, then it starts to make it a bit more interesting to try and get this point here. But then in saying that, it's only got a couple of days to survive in this area, and then there could well be a change in where the pivot is, and maybe some room to the upside after that. Now, breaking to the low side. So if it breaks out to the low side, then that would change my opinion completely. But for right now, I think that looks pretty good. I mean, even sort of like, if there are people that trade the Aussie Kiwi, and there was a possible entry between this point here and this point here, then that also I think would be pretty good as well. You probably wouldn't want to put a lot on it because you're in the range, but I think there's a chance, mate, that could actually form a bit more upside from this particular point.
Okay, interesting. I see a potential, but I also see the danger. The monthly pivot's been a very strong level for this pair all month. It's tried 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times to get above it, and every time it's come back below it. And of course, it came down big time to get to that monthly pivot. Interesting.
Yeah.
I was an absolute bear on this last week. and nothing happened.
I mean, is it possible that we test that monthly pivot again and then reject from there? You know, if there's lines
Yeah,
above.
sure. And I guess that's what you're saying. Maybe we can get up to there to get short, but and I see a potential break of a trend line there on on the 30-minute chart, where we just hounded the heck out of that trend line, or almost hounded the heck out of it, yet we can't get through it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it looks okay there, but yeah, that's the one I was looking at anyway. But there was a few Aussie pairs that I actually thought looked okay, and it was it's for that reason it does make it a bit of a tricky market really, because the what's going on with the VIX? Yeah, the VIX is a little bit it's a bit up and down, so we don't have a great deal of information really right now. The VIX actually does look a little bit weak. S&P actually does start to look it is starting to look a little bit stronger. We've seen the FTSE, fly to the upside. S&P is also starting to form an inverted head and shoulders. Now, I don't know necessarily whether this will get through, but we have seen quite a lot of buying every time we've had a suggestion that things are going to be okay. So we do have some potential signals here. Now, I don't know. Actually, let me just tidy this line up and just see what that does for us with in regards to upside potential.
We need to have a look at pound Swissy fairly shortly as well, because Sino wants to know on the 30-minute chart what's going on.
Okay, mate, no problem. Yeah, there could be if the S&P breaks the upside, there could be some further updraft in that one as well. The pound Swissy. Okay. Pound Swissy.
Just from my point of view, before you bring the chart up, the M30 chart, I see where you're coming from, Sino, and if you're a trend trader, that's probably quite interesting. For me, I don't see a setup for the short there, and I don't see a setup for the long, because we really haven't had the significant higher low that I need to trade it long. And to trade it short, I definitely need a setup. And from my point of view, I don't have a setup.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this, and actually, I mean, it's all right, it's. Well, just look at this on the 4-hour, and this 4-hour does actually look okay for some downside. There's a little trend line here as well, that's taking us. Yeah, see, even that, it's depending on where we draw that, probably there. That does suggest a weekly pivot, doesn't it? It suggests there might be some more room to the upside.
More, yeah.
Yeah, the pivots are certainly problematic, and I would certainly I'd concur with that the pivots are a bit problematic here, but I don't know. If I switch to short-term timeframes, just checking this on the 5. Yeah, it's there's possibly a little bit of downdrafting going on, but there's also a bit of a box here as well. So I'd be careful of this box on the pound Swissy. It's just and look at the volatility; it's just picking up again there. A little fly to the upside. There's the box really. So if you're going to look for the short, then I would suggest it's under this 1.1706. The long is difficult because of the pivot, and then the trend line, or this pivot, then this pivot, then the trend line. So, but both of them, the path of least resistance when it comes down to areas is certainly to the downside. But there might just be some more room to the upside before this comes down. So I'd want to get some confirmation on this before I traded it. And I think breaking under this 1.1706 or something looks like the best possible confirmation that you're going to get. So I'd hold out on that one personally.
Yep, nothing to add. I agree.
Let's have a quick look at gold as well.
And I'm ready to go around the grounds whenever you're ready, mate.
Okay,
So
mate.
if you run out of things to do, I'm ready to go.
Well, gold is worth just getting to before we do that because we are starting to see a pretty decent rally now come into play with the equities. Gold did manage to make a pretty good case for a push higher. I'm still struggling with it, mate. I'm still struggling with further upside. People are calling for it, but I don't see the inflation. I haven't seen the inflation coming through. If anything, we got a deflationary
I was
environment,
going to say, I don't think you will for a bit.
yeah, the gold thing I do find just a little bit surprising. The moves that we've had in gold that we had last week. There was a lot of this bar is really interesting. The very last bar of last week, this engulfing bar, really interesting bar because it looked like, by all intents and purposes, that we would be pushing down significantly with gold, but it managed to push its way up and end up looking like a very, very bullish bar. So there's nothing to suggest it's coming down when we look at the price action. Let's just check this on the hourly. Yeah, it's just it's finding a little bit of resistance up here, but the gold story in this particular environment and this particular level doesn't really interest me. I think that's just going to be just too tricky. I think if you're in, you're holding on. If you're not in, then you're waiting for the next wave. We know the seasonality with gold as well is potentially weak coming into this next period. So I'll be waiting for gold to come down. I don't know how low, but that's what I'd like to see. Whether it happens or not, I don't know. But that's what I'd like to see. Seasonality suggests downside, and the inflationary picture suggests downside. So it's a bit confusing to me to see gold continuing to push higher. Maybe it's just the fear. I don't know. Maybe it's just the protection, and if that's the case, then it's not quite as binary as we normally associate with gold as a hedge against inflation. So it does provide a more tricky prospect, I think, to trade that. So gold, I think we need to wait on. That's the takeaway for me. Trailing it to the upside if you've got one on and you manage to follow Ainsley, I think is a great position to be in. But otherwise, entries would not be favourable, I don't think, at this level.
I think Ainsley was still pretty buoyant yesterday, wasn't she?
She was.
Yeah.
Yep, she was. Okay, mate. Well, let's check around the ground, see what you got.
Roger D.
We'll come back to this in a bit.
Actually, quite a few things. And if I was a reckless person, I'd be probably in about 10 positions right now. Let me see what I can work out. Euro dollar. Now, dollar is the key, right? And I still think dollar's got a little bit of upside before it goes crashing down to earth, if not to hell. If there's a Hades below hell, then it could go to there as well. But I think for the meantime, we've got a potential for the US dollar to go just a little bit further. And for that reason, I still think I'm entitled to be bearish euro dollar. The interesting part is we've still got this head and shoulders in play. We've still got the bounce off that right shoulder, or both shoulders, if you like. Now is the testing material. We've bounced off this trade line on the 4-hour chart and struggling now with the weekly pivot. I think what happens at the end of this bar is going to be very, very interesting. If this bar is bullish and maybe closes above DR, is that DR2? Yes, it is. If that is the case, then this is probably going to go to the top here. And when I say the top, I mean to the top of this trade line, or this little pennant formation that we've got going on, equilateral triangle, if you like, whatever you want to call it. However, if it closes below the weekly pivot, or even if it closes as a body that is less than the wick, then I'd start to think this is on its way down. Now, I do already have a setup for the short on the 4-hour chart for euro dollar, something that I do like to trade. I just have to be convinced that I'm doing the right thing here. The issue I have, of course, is the support level that I'd be trading straight into, and I'd be entering below this bar here. My option is to wait until this bar closes and trade that bar, which is more of a freestyle trade than a slingshot trade. But I'd like to see how that does close. And there is a potential entry underneath it short with your stop loss directly above it. It is at DR2, one of my favorite levels to bounce off. So it's interesting. I might even look for it on a smaller time frame. Maybe as a false break. Yeah, that's probably the way to go. So what do we got? Anywhere through there won't make any difference. Any one of these is going to be exactly the same. We'll use the middle one. And there we go. Price under here, retest. That gets me really interested. So that's euro dollar. I'll be looking at that. That's probably going to be the first opportunity to trade it. So let's have a look at the 30-minute chart in 3 minutes time. And hopefully it's closed below here. Want to get a wriggle on though. And then the next bar, if it were to come back and retest that area, we'd get interested. We may have to wait for another 30-minute, however, before that takes place. Now, the Aussie's not dissimilar. In fact, just about a replica, really. Same thing. 3 little Indians sitting up here, if you like. Kind of a head and shoulders. Definitely a shoulder line that we've retested. And we've come off the top of the channel. Sorry, not a channel, rectangle. And really, we haven't got anything of a significant lower high. There was a lower high here, definitely. But I'd like to see this have come back up to this level before we do look for the shorts back to the bottom of the rectangle. That said, I think there's a shot over the bow there that's telling me if price were to come back to here, it would go short. This is the same. I just don't have the right scenario here, and I don't think I can find, maybe I can on the 30-minute chart, exactly the same as I'm looking for on euro dollar. Yeah, it's not as good, but let's have a look at it. So we could probably use that one. Yeah, I can't because that's been violated. I've got to come through there, and that makes it extremely difficult. That's the only way I could do it. So same thing. Back underneath here, retest. I want this candle to close above though, because I want to see 2 bars of consolidation before we duck back under. So that'll be what I'm looking for on Aussie dollar. So it's pretty much a mirror image. Now, pound US dollar, I haven't placed this order, but I shall. Now I better place it on a different account. Otherwise that one's going to be dual purpose. Now, what did I see yesterday? I was showing a trade. That's all. Okay, that's why I've got that on there. Let's go back to H4. Actually, that looks different. Different broker. It's the same on H4 though. All right. So H4 is where we will place the trade, and we're going to place a short underneath this bar here. And the level will be, I will give to you. No, I'll give it to you before I place the order. That's the way to do it. Money for nothing, or you're for free. Righto, we've got, no, don't do that either, because I still can't see. Oh, hang on. If I put Kumar's EA on here, and I haven't got it on this account, yes, I do. Awesome. This will work. This will work. Okay, let's go to there. Let's change some colors so I can actually see it. Rectangle properties, we'll go with a khaki baby shit. No, 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 no. Don't do that. Grayish. Still can't see. Go a bit tighter. I can see up here, that'll do, eh? So what we want is this bar here. So if we go back to 0, maybe, I might have to go negative. Can I go negative? -2. No, it goes 2. Highest candle, last 3 candles. It'll still give me that low that I want. That's the entry level. 123.23. So I'll go a little bit below that. So 123.23 is going to be my entry. And my stop loss will be above that candle. How can I go back there, Kuma? Start bar. Can't go negative. Start bar is 0. Oh no, I don't have to, do I? Start bar is number 3. Cool. Let's see what that does. Okay. It's still not doing it to me. Okay, I need to work on that, obviously. Sorry, mate. I know it works. I just can't work it out myself at the end of the day. So let's go with this. 123.57 will be the stop loss. So 1.2357 will be the stop loss. And let's put that on the chart. We've got pound US dollar, H4. It is a sell. And it is at 1.2323. Stop loss is at 1.2357. And TP1, I'll have to have a look at. Stop loss needs to be bold. TP1. Let's have a look at that on a bigger picture. TP1 needs to be around about there-ish, probably. It's a risk, 23.57, so 34 pips from entry, which is there. And we've got, yeah, bang on 1-to-1, right? That'll do us. So TP1 will be 122.88. $1.2288. Okay. There's our order. And targets. Let me have a look at this. No, I don't think we'll use a target. I think we'll use a TP2. So TP2 is going to be probably in the vicinity of there. So about 120.82-ish. That's what we'll be looking for. Oh, will I nominate that? Yeah, I'll nominate that. 120.80. Let's give it an 85. 120.85 will be TP2. And will we leave anything open? That's the question mark that I now have. Oh yeah, hell yeah. Okay. Once we hit TP2, we'll have 2/3 off. We'll have our stops at entry and we'll be free trading. And if this actually takes off, anything could happen. There's another level. There's another level. Happy days. All right. That's pound US dollar on the weekly chart. Now, don't forget that I'm expecting the pound to disappear. Sorry, the dollar to disappear at some stage. So this needs to happen pretty quickly before the dollar disappears, in my humble opinion, because the pound, despite itself, can rally, and it can rally fairly quickly. Now, where else are we? We've got that one on a dollar yen. Should I bring dollar yen back into play? I sacked it, and I'm thinking, oh, that looks so good. That looks so good. I think I'm going to have to trade it. But the question is, do I trade freestyle or do I trade slingshot style? That's the question that I have. And here is the answer. This is conservative, which is slingshot. So we'd enter there. We'd enter there. We'd put our stop loss there. And we'd have TP1 there. And then we'd let the rest rip. For TP2, we'd probably trail. Freestyle, entry there. Stop loss in the same place. TP1 in the same place. Gives you much more bang for your buck. And then on you go. We could split it. And that's what this will be very complex, guys. I better keep it simple. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put an entry underneath that bar. So I'm going to trade that bar. And I'm going to take my TP1 at my entry level for the second trade, which will be underneath that bar there. Stop loss in the same place. Got it? Entry there. TP1 just before entry here. Stop loss in the same place. Entry 2 is underneath this bar. TP1's here. And everything else is let go. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'll do all that a little bit later. Entry levels, if you like, if you want to trade the first trade, the entry level will be 106.92. And the stop loss will be at 107.50. Trade number 2, the entry will be at 106.37. And the stop loss will be exactly the same. Now, take your profit, take profit 1 on the first one before the second one enters. Therefore, you're not adding to your risk. You're adding to your reward, you're not adding to your risk. Okay? So that would be my counsel, and that's what I'm going to do. So suit yourself, but that's exactly where I'm going to be. Dollar CAD. Now, as I said, there's 100,000 trade, well, maybe 99,000 trades that I could take right now. This is another. And is it the same as dollar yen? Not necessarily. This is a false break scenario. But it's also full of risk because I can see upside here as well. We have a breakout bar there on the daily, and you could trade that on the daily. I wouldn't suggest trading on the 4-hour. So it's a daily bar trade, and simply trade that bar short. So I will actually do that. It may be similar to your to dollar yen, however. So if you're thinking as I am when I'm talking about this, I don't want to put you guys in peril. So try to aggregate your risk on both trades. So in other words, if you're going to trade 0.5%, maybe split these 0.25%, something like that, because they will be similar. The entry level on this one is going to be, actually, I'll put it up here, 1.36 1.45. I think that's right. Hang on. That's not right. 1.3625 will be the entry on this, and the stop loss on this will be 1.3720. Righto, let's put that up for you so you can actually follow. This is not like me on a Monday, I've got to say. What are we on? Dollar CAD. This is daily chart, yes. It's a sell at 1.3625. And the stop loss is at 1.3720. TP1 on this one is quite interesting, actually. I'll have to go down to a smaller time frame to find that. Okay, so entry is about there. Risk is up here, about 95 pips. We're underneath the weekly pivot. We're just underneath that level. That red line looks interesting, doesn't it? Let's say 135.55 will be TP1. TP1, 1.3555. Okay, if I put that up there, you should actually be able to see it. Righto, that's dollar CAD. So we've got dollar yen, dollar CAD, cable, 3 trades already. I think that'll do us, but I'll tell you a couple that I'm actually watching as well. Euro pound, very
busy
similar
for
to
you,
what
mate, isn't it?
Sorry, yeah, Monday. This
Monday,
is not
busy
normal.
day. No,
not normal, but there are setups there, so we've got to have a look at them. This one is also set up as a false break potential. Now, of course, it's also a very bullish bar, as is the dollar CAD trade. But my contention would be, if this is going to be a false breakout, it will be proven false underneath that bar. So entry underneath the bar is what I'm thinking. I'm not going to put this up, but I'll leave it up to you guys if you want to trade it. And the stop loss needs to be above the current bar. Now, if that continues to go up here, cancel it and wait for it to come back in a different fashion. That's going to be exactly the same. Kiwi US dollar. Look, all these ones against the dollar, right? I still have this caveat around it that I think the dollar can go a little bit higher before it falls. So how high? Well, I'm thinking another 40, 50 pips, or I think it's dropped today. It's probably more than that now. But 98.20-ish is around where I see the US dollar going on the index. So I think there's still plenty of room for these to come back. And the Kiwi, I think, can probably have to do it very, very quickly, because we've only got 2 days left in the month. In fact, we've only got 1 day left in the month and a half. So this would have to be a bit of a crash, really. But I can definitely see the top of here and that red line, which is around about 62.50, which is around about 180 pips from where we are. So, you know, if there's a setup to be had, why not take it? Do I see it at the moment? No, I do not, because I want to trade off resistance short, not off support. That's my fundamental. Fundamental is a bad word to use. That's my primary MO, I'll put it that way. So I want to see something up here. I do see a confluence there. If I go to M30, I think it'll probably look even better. Coming down from here, you little bugger. Just didn't make it. We'll have to come from there. So I'd really like to see this hit the weekly pivot. And there'd be two options if that were the case. There's a trade line there. And there could be a trade line there. Well, there is a trade line there. So either of these, if price were to come underneath here now and retest the confluence of daily pivot and trade line, there's a short on. Better one would be if price got above here, found this horizontal level, which is clear. There it is there. Got form over here. So if we got up to there, hit that level, got back underneath it and retested it, happy days. There's your entry short on Kiwi US dollar. Now, bear in mind that I think this is only a temporary thing. So it's short to medium term only. And for that reason, you want to be taking profit off the table reasonably quickly. So that is, that's where I'm at. Gee whiz, mate, it is busy. I haven't really even had a look at the 30-minute charts as yet to see what's going on. But I think that looks good. Aussie US dollar looks good. I want to close under here in the next 13 minutes, then a buying bar. Happy days.
You long that? You're bullish on the Aussie?
No, I'm not.
Oh, bearish on the Aussie?
Yeah, well, I'm bullish on the dollar, see.
You're bullish on the dollar?
It's not
Gotcha.
against any other currency. It's just bullish on the dollar until we get to that 98 handle. Then I'm reversing.
Yeah. Looking forward to our our crypto chat later on. Actually, I've got a few interesting charts on the cryptos. Good morning, everyone. By the way, I haven't
we've been too busy to say good day.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sino and Kumar and Fad and Dennis. I won't go for everybody, but how you all doing? Just on the Sino was asking about which online calculator do you use to calculate positions. I don't use an online calculator because I trade the same size every time. So I trade it long enough, enough to know what the price is. But I can show you on MC4 a little trick to figure out how much each pip costs you. And it works on every chart. But baby pips is obviously sort of the obvious one. The trade manager's another obvious one. I don't use it personally because it's just something extra that is kind of flying at me when it comes down to things that can just distract me from what I need to do. But I can show you something with that when Jeff's finished. What else do we have here? To have a look at pound yen. Did you see that by Dennis? Can you comment on the pound yen?
I haven't yet, mate. No.
Yeah, your screen is quite blurred, actually, Jeff. Somebody just said it looked like a snow blizzard, and it does look a little bit blurred.
I think it was because of the label on the dollar CAD thing, but I have no idea why it would be blurred. It's not drunk or anything, as far as I know.
It's not drunk. Big current rejection coming up with some of these global equities. The FTSE 100 is now struggling for upside direction, and it might be an opportunity for everybody to get in for some shorts, which we'll also have a look at in a little while.
Mate, you can go. I've given these levels.
Okay,
I just need to put them on the screen.
All right, well, let's do that really quickly then. Yeah, there has been a weak opportunity for a short, and maybe it comes back as well. There's a short level now on the FTSE, which is up at. It looks like under this bar. If it comes back and tests this bar, it does look a bit rangy, a bit choppy. But when you look at this hourly, and this is really what we're playing here. We got the trend line there. That hourly ends up looking like this. Then you can take an entry under the bar with a stop above it. Now the question is there enough room? Because there's and the issue is the 4th of July seasonality. Actually does look like there's enough room, doesn't there? Yeah, there's enough room to that monthly pivot, and that would be the probable area I would have thought for profit taking. This is a belt hold, though, and you have to be careful because belt holds are In they are bullish bars. So if you are going to get into this, you may want to consider tightening things up if you get to the bottom of that belt hold. Difficult for me to give you entries on this now because I'm just in management mode, and it does make it a bit tougher to give you the exact advice with complete clarity. The market is still bearish, but we do have Donald Trump out in a little while. But there is still this fear going around that the pandemic is about to rear its ugly head. So the market's in a bearish mode right now. If it pushes back up to this level, then you might be better off waiting. I'm not sure. If I was trading this, I wouldn't trade under that bar. I'd probably want one more push up to this particular point. After seeing this bar, I'd probably use it more as a if it ends as it is. If it ends as it currently looks, but I'd probably use this bar more as a road map rather than an absolute a turning in the market or in the road. I just use it as a bit of a map of potential direction. So it would suggest further downside, but I don't think this is going to be the best price point. I still think that there might be just a little bit of flushing out, a bit more upside. There's still a chance it could take off because of the 4th of July seasonality where people do buy into that. But let me quickly show Sino. This is just a general thing. It doesn't matter what you're trading, S&P, FTSE, anything you like. Pick a point on your chart. Pick a point. And if let's say you're trading this bar here and you were looking at the lower of the bar at 315 and you're looking at the higher end of the bar, which is around about 16 pips. Pick a point on your chart, which is nowhere near this. So let's say we're trying to get 16 pips to the downside, right? So let's just choose a nice round number. So we'll go with 3060. 3060. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my order window and just experiment. I don't know what this is going to cost. So we'll just put in actually, have I done that wrong? Yeah, that's right. We'll just put in 1. And see how much one standard lot costs us for 16 pips. So we're picking 3060 for an entry, and we know we want 16. Then we'll just put a little sell limit there with a stop loss 16 pips above that particular point, so 3076. Why is that not doing that? Sell limit. Oh, whoops, wrong way around. 3060 in there. And then 3076 here. Okay, now we can place that. Now we can see that the lines are on our chart there. Now if I grab this this upper line, it tells me in the corner, in the left-hand corner, that's going to cost me $16. So I now know that the S&P is going to cost me $1. If I do it a standard dollar, it's going to cost me $1 a pip. And you can do that with anything. You know, what you're trying to work out is the pip value at one standard lot, if you like, and then you can make the calculations after that. You can do 10 standard lots, whatever you find the easiest to do the maths on would be the answer here. Now, hold on a moment, because you might get an entry here on the FTSE. Yeah, it looks like there could be an entry here on the FTSE to the downside. And I was just talking about that area, the potential area up here, looking at this on the 15. So maybe the top end of the bar could be the entry. Now, I am not taking this trade because I'm already short. But I'm just letting you know that if I wasn't already short, then I would take this. What I want to see here, actually, let's go down to the 5 just for a bit more clarity. What I want to see here is this 5-minute bar end up. Well, it doesn't really matter where it ends up, actually, as long as it's not bearish. If it's bearish, it probably would change my opinion. But the range on this is absolutely fine, and then the entry would be just under the 5-minute bar with a stop at the highs. So this is a potential setup. We're taking this as a potential setup. But I want to reiterate, I'm not taking this trade myself because I'm in. So the entry is for a short. And this is called the UK 100, but let's call it by its proper name. And the price looks like it's going to be, what's the low of that bar? 61.56. So probably going to be 51.50, 61.55. And with a stop loss at the highs at 61.90, I guess. So that's going to give you 35 pips to try and gain, which means that you can get back to the low. So I'd have a little take profit down there. You got to be a little bit careful. You don't have to take profit here, but you have to do something, in my opinion. So that something could be that you take some profit, or it could be move stops. So your target, and it's not to say it's a take profit, but your target is 61. Let's call it 61.20. So target is 61.20. Okay. And you must do what you feel comfortable doing at that particular point. If you believe that it could go a lot further, then it's better to leave it on. The issue comes, and the only reason I'm leaving mine on where it is and not doing anything else with it, is that the price is really good. You know, it's a nice high price. You can't really say the same here, so you might want to protect this trade. I don't really at this stage have any reason to protect what I've got, but you may find that that a bit of protection after you've got down to this level would be sensible and wise. So just take that into account. Very, very steep, but it looks like there could even be a little trend line down here. But we'll check that on a 1 minute chart just to get some clarity on that. Yeah, it looks like there's a little bit of there's a price point here at 61.61 that if it was to break through, it might continue to the upside, which means that the lower band of the 61.55 would be fairly safe, I would have thought, if that was to come into play. So that is the FTSE. And that should calculate your lot size. The belt hold. The belt hold is a bar that that opens up, gapping down, and then closes at its high. So it's a really bullish bar. It does have bullish connotations, you know, because belt holds do tend to come at the turning point in a market, just like these low tests or high tests or hammers or shooting stars. That, you know, depending on what your terminology is, the belt hold does also have bullish connotations, and it basically gaps down, but it doesn't have any tails. You know, you can have a tiny little wick, but it doesn't really have any wick. It just opens up at the low, closes at the high, and the more significant the body, so the more significant the range of the belt hold, the more significant the bar. So this is a significant bar, and you can see where it's happened. So it is suggesting some upside in the market from this particular point, and it might still come. So again, if we're looking at what are these bars telling us? They give us a bit of a roadmap. They give us a bit of an idea of where the market might go. And this one is, so you would be triggered into the FTSE right now if you've taken that trade. If you decide to take that trade, you're triggered in. So it does mean that the belt hold may well hold. You know, why it's called a belt hold, I don't know, but that's what it suggests. And you can see there's one on the hourly as well. So there's a belt hold on the hourly. There's a belt hold on the 4 hourly as well. So both of them are suggesting that that this is a pretty strong area for trading to the upside. And because they're on 4 hourlies and hourlies, it means that if you come down to shorter term timeframes, you can maybe have a look and look at the low of this the hourly here. The low of the hourly is 6,100. Now, if we kind of come along, we can see that there is support here. So that it might not get down to the pivot. Now, I'd want to check this trend line as well. Now, that price point there is suggesting that if that was to continue into tomorrow, then this area might well be a genuine buy zone. So yeah, be a bit careful if you have entered the trade to take profit or do something. is the suggestion. Now, I don't think we even got down to as far as the belt hold, did we, when I was pointing out the do something line. But do something at an area like this, rather than being passive. And that's something, as I say, could just be move your stop to break even. It could be take a little bit off the table, but just do something just to make yourself a bit safer in the market at that particular time. And what was that was our level down there. So you know, if you decided to take the trade, you're in now at 61.55, and you're aiming down here. I think we said 61.20, didn't we? So it's got to come down another 25 pips, but you might well have a profitable trade there. Yes, looking forward to that Shukri. Looking forward to the cryptos. Mudlaya, good. How you doing, mate? Dennis, what's very rude? I'm not sure what's very rude. What's very rude, Dennis? Oh, it looks what? Because Jeff's screen looks like a snow blizzard. Maybe that's what's rude.
I don't know. I don't mean to be rude.
I don't know. Well, I can't see your screen anymore, so I'm not sure. Or maybe he meant he was being rude. I don't know. Right. Does that explain the belt hold enough? Sino, does that answer your question as well about calculating pips? I mean, you know, there's a numerous ways, number of ways to do it, but that's the way I've been doing it recently. I mean, I know it's really Kumar could probably come up with something even better, but to be honest, you know, you've got the trade manager, which does all the calculations for you, but I just don't like lots of things on my screen. So I don't use trade manager and scanners and things like that. You know, I'm much more likely to kind of, you know, put the sweat in and have a look at the chart and eyeball it myself. Not because I want to, just because I find another piece of technology will just distract me, and I don't want that distraction. Jeff, pound Swissy. Oh, we're gonna look at the pound versus the yen as well. So pound yen. Again, you know, be careful with the pound today. There are negotiations going on, and any whisper of a positive outcome for those negotiations would suggest that that the pound could well rally, may well rally from this particular point under the monthly pivot. So let's think about it technically to start with, instead of worrying about Brexit, and then you can make your own mind up whether that's going to be an issue for you. Okay, what we got? Yeah, it does look a little bit negative here, doesn't it? What are these short-term time frames suggesting? Here's another belt hold. Look at it. Belt hold on the 15 here. You'll start to see these all over the place now. But remember that the most the significant aspect is the gap down. So it gaps and closes at the high. And look what it provided. It didn't mean that it was going to take off there and then, but it did provide that upside. You know, and it's always at the low. Always at the low end of the market. It was the lowest part of this. Lowest part of the price action here. Closes at the high. Okay, what do we got on the 15? Let's see. Yeah, it's a bit messy, actually. Bit messy. I'd find it difficult to make a decision on this, to be honest. I see that there's this line going through here, which may have gone under. There's you know, on the 15, you're basically sort of like looking at this particular piece of information here. This hammer, not a brilliant hammer, but it is a low test, if you like. Not a brilliant bar. But by the same token, the price action could be through. So we've got we got pivots here as well. So I guess a close under the monthly pivots would provide some potential for some downside, but it's a bit scruffy. I don't love it. No, I don't know what this would suggest. And obviously, you know, with the Brexit scenario, does this get away with get rid of this? Does this suggest? Does this give us a belt hold as well? You know, there's one here. Very small gap down, but there's a belt hold there. Belt hold here. Yeah, this piece of information suggests that there could be some further upside. So I don't know, man. It doesn't look attractive enough for me to trade. If I was going to trade this long, then it's going to have to break through this area here. And that might well be on a 4-hour. It looks like there's a pattern on the 4-hour. And if we've got a pattern on the 4-hour doing that, what's this suggesting? Yeah, you might well have a channel here as well, which does provide some downside, doesn't it? Right back down to the low of the belt hold, and then maybe coming back up again. So could be some downside. It might be limited. You know, if you're entering it, you might well be wanting to enter on this 4-hour bar with stops at the highs, getting you back down to the lows. So there might be a 1-to-1 trade there. Shorter term time frame suggests there could be a little bit more downside on this one, but I'm not loving it, and I'd probably want to see. And I'm pretty sure actually the yen is seasonally pretty strong at this time of year. So I probably want to see some other evidence to suggest the yen is probably moving higher. It's not suggesting it currently with the Aussie. Jeff had the dollar yen, which I can't remember what you surmised there, mate. Was it for a short and dollar yen?
Short, mate. Yeah.
Short dollar yen. So yeah, maybe. Don't personally love it, but I see the case for a little bit of downside.
Yeah, look, I can't see us going risk on at the moment, really. I really can't. And therefore the yen should be strong.
False break on the euro dollar M30, Jeff.
Yeah, look, interesting. I'll show you my chart when you're ready on that one.
Yeah, show away.
Okay, let's go there now then. So we were looking for this on Aussie dollar, right? This exact setup on Aussie dollar, but Aussie dollar seems to have snuck through on us. And it's a far better scenario had it done what we asked it to do than is euro dollar. Not over yet, however. It could go back. But the clear picture here is that we have gone through the trade line, we've gone through the weekly pivot, and we've smashed back through it. That's a pretty strong response from the sellers, right? Euro dollar, yes, it's a strong response from the sellers, but have we got the retest yet? And the answer is no, we don't. If you trade on the 15-minute chart, then you may see that in 6 minutes' time as a potential trade. I don't trade on the 15-minute chart, but if that is a bullish bar and maybe closes up here somewhere, then I totally get it. And yes, I'd be on board with that. It's a little bit tricky because we've only just snuck below that trade line. We haven't really given a strong close below it. And have we got the right trade line is the question. By my rules, we could use that one. We could use that one. We could use that one. The question is, have we got the right one? And here's the difference. Looks much better on that one. So I'm happy to go with it. But if you were to use that one, then we're not yet underneath the trade line. So it is a little bit tricky. So what do? Well, you go by the rules, I suppose. And the rules, my rules are, get as close to the market as you possibly can with these trade lines. But they've all got the same. They've all got two perfect points of contact, as I put it. So it's a matter of which one you trust. There's a case for this one because it's been support and resistance as well. So let's use it. So the only piece of the puzzle that's now missing, and we are now 20 minutes away from it, is if this bar is a bullish bar. And that's what we need to see here to trade this as a false break. So well spotted, like it. But yeah, it's not there yet. But I know you're not saying it's there yet. And keep your eye on it. Absolutely keep your eye on it. Thoughts on Antipodes CAD? Yeah. Okay, there's Aussie CAD. And as I can see, Aussie CAD is banging on the top of this range and definitely not looking to trade this long. Can I trade it short is the question. Yeah. Don't like the bar. Yes, I see it's a reversal bar. If it were to be a white bar, then I might consider, that's a 4-hour chart, of course. Let's go a little bit deeper into here and see what we can see. This is no longer a lower high, of course, on this chart. Can I see a false break? No, I can't. Yeah, it's a bit awkward at the moment. 30-minute chart. Ready, set, go. That may be a little more interesting. Let's get rid of that to start with and use the trade line from the high through there. Doesn't work. Through there doesn't work because we've got to get rid of the trade line. It's not easy, is it? So no, I don't see a setup right now, but if I'm trading this, then I'm looking for short. I'm not looking for long because we're at the top of the range. We're at a strong resistance level. As you can see, we haven't been able to punch through it. So no, I wouldn't be looking to trade it long. So that's half of the equation. Kiwi CAD is probably very similar. Don't know if I've got a Kiwi CAD chart anywhere. Oh, I do. Yes, I do. Okay, Kiwi CAD. Let's go to the daily. Not dissimilar. And of course, we are at a strong resistance level. I see it a little bit more bullish than the Aussie. I've got to say that. But whether I could trade it long, of course, is another story. I see nothing I like yet in terms of tradability. Yeah. No, I'm afraid not. From a trading point of view. From a bias point of view, well, as always, I can't trade long here. So my bias immediately goes to the other side. We are at a double top situation. It's taking its time to develop, I've got to say. But you can see the strong level that we're at here on the weekly chart. I would be very, very cautious about going long here, I've got to say. Would be very cautious about going long here. I'd like to see that level break and be taken out, then come back, then look for the long. I think it's very, very dangerous at this point. If I'm honest with myself, I'm thinking potential is there, but high risk. High risk. I definitely want to see a pullback of some kind before I traded this long. I can see the cyclicity. If you're a trend trader, get that. Small time frame, you could consider it, I suppose, but it's just not my thing. It's not my, definitely not my part of the chart that I'd like to trade. So only short, rather. If I saw a false break in this area, I'd get interested short, but that's it. Can I put up the dollar yen again? Yeah, I'll go through that. Join late. Hello, guys. G'day, Alan. And all that I haven't said hello to. Mate, I'll very, very quickly go through those 3 orders that I've got in the market. And that's going to be about me, apart from those Aussie and Euro short potentials.
Okay, mate.
Not my bag, baby. No, it's not my bag. You're right. It's not that currency. Right, what have we got? We've got 3 orders that I put in the market, I believe. Dollar CAD is one, where we've got a daily chart that's suggesting to me that there's a potential false break of that range on. It's even more evident on other charts, but I think that's the potential trade right there. And they are the parameters. 1.3625 is your entry. Stop loss is at 1.3720, and the TP1 is at 1.3555. And the potential for this to go a fair way is there. That's why I'd like to trade it. So I think we can really look forward to some profit if we can get into this in the right direction. Cable is another. It's on the 4-hour chart, and we're looking at this bar here, and we've traded at, well, we've got an order short at 1.2323. We've got a stop loss at 1.2357. Our TP1 is at 1.2288, and our TP2 is at 1.2085. And we will, once again, if we can get TP2 in the bank, we'll be looking to free trade this right down to here. Stop loss to entry at TP2 on that one. Dollar yen is the other. I've got 2 orders on dollar yen. One of them trading this bar here. And the entry for that one is at 106.92. The stop loss is at 107.50. TP1 is at 106.40. I'd only take a third off at that point. And then I would look to enter the second trade at 106.37. Stop loss is exactly the same as the first one. TP1 is at 106.05, at which point, I know that's a very short TP1, I would take half off and move my stops to 32 pips above entry, which is the TP1. So 32 pips of TP1, I'd move my stop loss and take half off at that point. And then here's the profit part. Target is 102.40. So you're looking at 510, you're looking at 400 pips roughly for your target on that second entry. So yes, you've got a very skinny TP1, but you'll get safe in the market very quickly, and you're looking to take 400 pips out at that point. Is the first entry break and retest of the monthly pivot on dollar yen. If I can show you that. Is that dollar yen we're talking about, I assume? And the answer is no, because what we've got here is the first entry is pretty much a lower high, is what we're trading here. A lower high based on that big bearish engulfing bar, really. And I guess there's a little bit of fiddly in here as well, but that's what I'm looking to trade here. Second entry is a break and retest of the support trade line. The break of monthly pivot and retest, however, is valid on pound US dollar, because it is the first break and retest of that line this month. And it's got a day to go. Interesting. We'll see how that pans out. So, mate, yeah, a whole lot done, but not a whole lot on the 30-minute charts, I've got to say. That's looking good now. Euro dollar's looking good. Aussie dollar isn't coming back. Or is it? No, Aussie dollar's keeping going. So Euro dollar's looking good for short, guys. So you've got 10 minutes to wait on that. But if you see that bar as it is now, then that would be a trade, definitely. Right, mate, I'm done.
Wait, yeah, cool. All right. Well, the market hasn't quite come down to that target, but I'd still be tightening up. Maybe something here if you guys are in. Maybe do some management on that one. Not ready to take profits, obviously, but you might want to just tuck in just above the 5-minute bar that you would have entered on. Maybe tuck in just above that, just to secure not too much of a loss if it was to come back anyway. Okay, mate, I'm done too, and we'll be back for the US show, and we'll be talking to Shukri about some cryptos and bits and pieces like that. And Trump would have been out by then as well, so we'll just get a little bit of an overview of what he said, and we should get some kind of reaction for what that may well do to the equities and potentially the currencies and the dollar more specifically at that particular time as well. But it's just got a little bit quiet maybe as we wait for that Trump announcement. I don't think I'm wrong on a Trump announcement. I'm pretty sure he is.
Do we know what it's about?
Let me just double check. Over 34. What's
Hope
he
it's an
doing?
improvement on the last one I heard, which was let's stop testing, and that'll give less positive results.
Yes.
That's the last one I heard.
Hold on a
Wow.
minute.
How good's that?
Let me just quickly. That's fine. Let's go back to that. We will go to calendar. Okay, so he's due out. Where is he? Oh, hold on. That's just disappeared. I think maybe Forex Factory was just catching up. So no, that's forget that. We got Fed Chair Joel Powell tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's all we got. I thought Trump was out today, but it doesn't look like he is.
Oh, by the way, we're still short euro yen. We're still short pound CAD. And we are still one other. Euro Swiss, how's that going? Let's come back at us. Oh, we're still in. We're still in Euro Swiss. So we're still going on 3 of those trades. And we should be free trading all of those guys. So hopefully we're still going to get some money.
Good stuff,
the whole idea, of course.
Good stuff. All right. Okay, guys, we will see you in the US show. For the rest of you, we will see you tomorrow. Same trade time, same trade channel at 5 to 8.
That's a date. Don't be late.